Okay, so first of all, I'm a senior Landmark graduate. I first did the Landmark Forum in January of 1997. I've reviewed it countless times, the last being the 19th of February of this year. I've done the advanced course, SELP, the communications courses, a number of different seminars, including the sex and intimacy seminar, which at the time I did it was only open to senior graduates. I started ILP in 2001 and was kicked out because I stood up for somebody who was being bullied by one of the staff. I've also had some run-ins with a couple of former staff members at the Auckland Centre, Tale and Jonathan, who I'm sure all other Auckland graduates will know those names. The two of them did an enormous amount of damage to the Auckland Centre. They were just backstabbing, two-faced, nasty little creeps. And I'm sure I'm not the only graduate who would hold that view of them. Now, it's not worth me repeating what you're about to hear in the phone call, which I'm going to put at the end of this video. You can just listen to that and make your own judgment. But in a nutshell, Landmark basically tried to break the law and exclude somebody from one of their courses because of disability. I have an exemption from the Ministry of Health to not wear a face mask, and you'll hear the reasons for that in the call. Landmark basically tried to say, oh no, we're, our policy is that you have to wear a face mask and we won't accept a Ministry of Health exemption. So that's when I called the police in, and as I say, you can just make your own judgment from the call itself. I'm also want to say, I think it's important that this is made clear. I'm extremely grateful to Landmark for everything they've given me. I wouldn't be the person I am today without Landmark, and I openly acknowledge that, and I think it's important that is addressed and acknowledged. There is not a day that has gone by in the last 23 years where I haven't been grateful to Landmark for everything that they've given me. Unfortunately though, although the education is valid and enormously powerful, there are some cultural issues within Landmark which are extremely destructive. In fact, I would describe the Landmark internal culture as nothing less than toxic. The sort of backstabbing and manipulation that Jonathan and Tale engaged with while they were there was just unbelievable. Tale's mum, Colleen, used to wander around the seminars like a cancer, killing everything she touched. And Tale kept letting her into the seminars for free, and then she'd go and wreck them. I remember a situation where Colleen spoke to me in a very nasty, put-down way in a group that I was with. The group turned around and said, well, that's unacceptable, we want you to apologise to John and we want a commitment from you, you're not going to speak to people that way again. Colleen jumped up and ran out of this person's house, literally just ran away from actually taking responsibility for herself. Half an hour later I got a call from Jonathan, oh no, I'm going to remove you from that group, you're going to have to find another group. And that's the sort of bullshit that he would do constantly, not only to me but to other people. He had a reputation for kicking people out of seminars just because they'd stand up to him. And I think if you are a Auckland graduate with experience of that sort of thing, then it would be nice to have you leave comments about those sorts of things, just so that we give Landmark an opportunity to see the trail of destruction that they've left behind them and that they've created for themselves, because unfortunately the self-destructive behaviour is all still there. On the Tuesday night evening session, I took the opportunity to speak to the manager in her office. I was welcomed in with the Cheshire grin, landmark smile that we all know and love. That quickly went away when she figured out I wasn't falling for any of the landmark tricks. The first thing that I said to her was, well, you know, it's a fairly appalling situation with what Landmark did. I mean, basically you had the police breathing down your neck, and that's the only reason you gave in. To which she said, oh no, I don't remember that at all. What I remember is the police operator said that they weren't going to attend. Well, you know, you can listen to the call and make your own judgment on that. But my take on it is, well, yes, the police emergency operator did say that they wouldn't attend, but she said that after you had agreed to let me in. So, you know, the typical Landmark cherry pick one little fact in isolation and sort of ignore all of the surrounding context, just, you know, for their own purposes. She then tried to tell me I was making Landmark wrong, to which I said, yes, Landmark is wrong. Landmark broke the law, to which she just flatly denied. She just couldn't even be with that. And I said to her at that point, well, you know, I think an apology really should be forthcoming, not only from you but also from the staff member who did this. To which she basically said, you're not going to get an apology, and if you want to be complete, note, if you want to be complete, not if you want an apology, then that is your responsibility to deal with the staff member. So she was basically saying that this person who had broken the law was blameless, and if I wanted to speak to her about that, it was my responsibility, and they would do nothing you know, to apologise and acknowledge what they did. So then she said to me, you know, what happened? What on earth happened? Why do you think this way? You know, she was basically then trying to turn the conversation around onto me and off Landmark. And say, you know, and I sort of sidestepped that, and she came back and said, well, this is all story. Excuse me? This is all story? Well, this is the police file notes, woman. This isn't all story. This is what happened. And what you're about to hear in the phone call that I've put at the end of this video is also what happened. Landmark broke the law. And at that point I didn't let her go any further, because I knew what was coming was that I couldn't trust my own judgment. You know, that old chestnut. And said, thank you, bye-bye. So unfortunately for all of the former, well, for the Auckland graduates, I have to say that all of the self-destructive behaviour that had us all walk away from them, it's all still there. It hasn't changed. The same manipulation, lack of responsibility, the whole lot, it's all still there. What Landmark and Landmark people are really good at is pointing the finger in every which direction except themselves. And this was just an absolute classic case in point. They still don't take responsibility for 98% of the participants wanting nothing more to do with them after 18 months. They played a video which proudly stated 22 million people have participated in Landmark's work, and that 94% of them have reported positive changes in their lives. But at no point did they mention that 98% of the participants have washed their hands of them and want nothing more to do with them. And This sort of bullshit is the reason why. And until Landmark get that, nothing's going to change for them. And at this point, it's inevitable that the Auckland Centre will close at some point, because the marketplace is rejecting them. People like me and all the other graduates are saying what we say about them for a reason. And Landmark only have themselves to blame for the situation that they're in. 20 years ago, they were doing 18 forums a year. Now, they're doing 6. Sorry guys, but that's sort of heading in the wrong direction. And it's going to continue that way as long as you continue engaging in this sort of bullshit and then try to lie and manipulate your way out of it afterwards. This is the reason why 98% of your customers wash their hands of you. And until you get that, it's just not going to change. And look, I once again, I'm really grateful to Landmark for everything they've given me. But I'm not Landmark's mother. I'm not responsible for them. I'm not going to baby them, and I'm not going to hold their hand. Landmark is responsible for Landmark, not the graduates. And until Landmark gets that Landmark is responsible for Landmark, they're just going to continue sending their centres down the toilet. Wellington went bye-bye years and years ago now. And actually, to be honest, the graduates that I've spoken to are surprised that the Auckland Centre is still here. But I can't see it staying here for that much longer. It's just going to continue to go downhill. So as I say, if you're an Auckland graduate and you'd like to leave a comment about the sort of Jonathan and Tale bullshit that you experienced and saw other people experiencing, that would be a helpful and healthy contribution. It would give Landmark an opportunity to see the trail of destruction that they've left behind them, and I'm not expecting them to do anything about that, and you probably aren't either, but if we put it all there in front of them and enough of us say the same thing to them, then at least it's there and the door is open to them to do something about it. I know we all are pretty much convinced that we're wasting our time, and I would agree with that, but let's at least give them the chance by putting it in writing in front of them. I am going to remove comments which have been left by people who have not done Landmark's work, just making comments to beat up Landmark. But other than that, you're most welcome to leave your thoughts on your experiences about Landmark. And now, here is the call in its entirety. I just want to say one other thing that I forgot to mention, which is that this is a call which lasted for 15 minutes. This is an emergency police operator tying herself and an emergency line up for 15 minutes because of how seriously they were taking this. She played a very subtle game when she was speaking to the centre manager, but I think that the seriousness of the situation did come through loud and clear. But once again, as I've already said, listen to the call, make your own judgment.
This is the police. Where is your emergency?
Landmark education on... sorry, I can't remember the address, but it's in downtown Auckland. You'll be able to Google it. Fanshawe. I think it's Fanshawe Street.
What's the place called? Landmark Education?
Yeah, Landmark Education.
Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, 7 to 9 Fanshawe Street. And that's Auckland. Alright, can you tell me any nearby roads or any nearby locations so I can confirm?
Fanshawe and Beaumont Street is a nearby intersection, and then it's further west, so further east on Fanshawe Street.
Okay. Do you know Clearpoint House?
No, sorry.
Ring a bell? Okay. QT Hotel?
No.
Are you near a BP?
Yes, BP is almost directly across the road.
Okay. How can I help?
Okay, so I'm a member of the Blind Foundation. Because of disability, I'm unable to wear a face mask. I've just been refused entry into a course because of that, which I believe is just blatant discrimination on the basis of disability. I've just spoken to so they've asked me to leave the building, which I've done, but I'm asking the police to attend because I'm on my way back right now. I've just spoken to the Ministry of Health and they have granted me an exemption over the phone, which they are texting me right now.
Okay.
So what I would like is, I appreciate that it's not the biggest emergency in the world, but it is very serious. So I would like the police to attend. I'm going to go back and see if they will admit me, and if not, at least the police can document the situation for me so that I can take the matter further with the Human Rights Commission.
Okay, no, that's no problem. I've just got to get all the details down of what you've told me, okay? Because these, you have called in, so I do want to get all the details down. So what time did you go there?
8:30 this morning.
And, sorry, I'm just going to have to ask what disability and why does that stop you from wearing a face mask?
Blindness. So I'm a full member of the Foundation for the Blind. I'm not completely blind. I have a little bit of sight. But wearing a face mask fogs up my glasses and moves them further up my nose out of their proper position. So wearing a face mask just completely compromises what little sight I have. And as I say, I've just spoken to the Ministry of Health about this, and they have just granted me an exemption, and they've sent me that. I've got it on my phone to show people.
Okay. And you want to go back in now?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're requesting police assistance. Is this due to the way you were treated, or what was the response?
I would like the police there. Because it's holding an exemption now from the Ministry of Health. They've got no grounds to refuse entry because they can't wear a face mask, and I'd like the police to enforce that.
And who am I speaking to?
My name is John Rauner. John Rauner, Rauner.
And this is your best contact number?
Yep.
Okay, let me see. And do you know where you are currently?
Yeah, I'm walking back to Landmark along Fanshawe Street.
It's called Landmark, is that right?
Landmark Education.
Yeah. How far away are you?
Probably 2 minutes walk away. I'm just approaching the Tepid Barbs, if you know where that is.
If you'd like, it might be faster if you can see if you can get in with me on the phone. See what happens. And if they say no, then I'll get stuff out there for you, because that's the fastest way right now. Are you happy with that?
Yep, that's fine. I'm just walking as quickly as I can to get there. If you don't mind staying on the phone with me.
No problem.
Okay, all right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. We're very busy at the moment for some reason. We don't have any staff available in your area.
No, look, I understand that. That's fine. Look, I appreciate what help you're giving me anyway.
It's okay. I completely understand. That's because you have very minimal sight, is that right? So with the glass?
That's right. That's right, yes. So the glasses get steamed up. Other Foundation for the Blind members have the same exemption. for the same reason.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I just called the Ministry of Health just now I wasn't aware that I could do that. And I spoke to the Ministry of Health COVID helpline, and they said, yeah, no, you qualify for the exemption, give us your mobile number, and we'll text it to you right now.
Yeah, I know that it is quite strict with COVID, but if you're not showing any flu-like symptoms or if you have that exemption, then it should be okay.
Yeah, well, that's just the thing is that even without the exemption, not being able to wear one because of a disability.
You have a legitimate reason. I mean, I went to the mall yesterday and there was hundreds of people not wearing masks.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm back at Landmark.
Okay, just say I'm on the phone if they can speak to me.
Yeah, I'll hand you over to them and just you can introduce yourself and just take it from there. I think will be probably best.
Are they security or?
No. I'm just going in the main doors. Let me just find the person you need to speak to. Where's Amanda? Sorry? Yeah, please. John Rauner. Yep, okay, thank you.
Have you got the exemption notice ready?
I believe it's on my phone, but I can't actually get to it while I'm on the phone with you, but I've been told that it is here. Okay, I'll hand you over to Amanda and you can just introduce yourself. Okay. This is the police operator who...
can you just ask them to hold the stick? I'll be able to
She's going to get the manager.
Okay.
I'll come through. That's that's fine. I really do appreciate you doing this. Thank you. Okay, so she's just gone and got the manager. So hopefully we won't be waiting for too long.
And you go here often, is that right?
Well, I have been going here for about 20 years, but this is the first time I've been in the building for about 10 years. And obviously with the COVID situation, it's the first time I've ever attempted to wear a face mask while walking around an office building. So,
are you here for a course?
Yes, I am. I'm here for a course. And they've refused to let me attend the course if I don't wear a face mask walking around the building. And I have explained the reasons why I can't. And they've been all nice and nice. Oh, yeah, no, we completely understand, and it's not because of your disability, but we'd like you to leave, please.
So when you spoke to Ministry of Health, you called them?
Yes, I did. And I explained the situation, and they said, yeah, no, look, you do qualify for the exemption, and here it is.
No problem.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. So the Ministry of Health just granted it immediately, and they've sent me the formal notification of that. What they're doing is they're just emailing and texting the certificate or document or whatever it is.
No problem.
So that has been now put formally into the Ministry of Health system that I do have an exemption.
Okay.
What Landmark said, because one of the things that I asked them before I did leave the building, before calling you, was would they accept formal notification from the Ministry of Health that I have an exemption, and they said no, they wouldn't. Yeah. So, I'm really loath to have to ask the police to get involved in something like this, but hopefully this is going to be the simplest way to.
And obviously, I do have to ask you: have you been showing any signs of cold or flu, any COVID symptoms?
No, nothing like that. They did ask me all that, but no, and I haven't been anywhere in any known locations or anyone who has had symptoms or any ports or places where international visitors might be present. Hello. You're the manager. Okay. All right. So this is the police 111 operator. And that's probably
Yeah.
take it from.
Perfect. Are you able to put it on speaker?
All right. Yes. Do you mind if I put this on speaker?
No problem.
Okay. All right.
Hi, this is Tracy from police. How are you?
Hi Tracy. My name's Rokura. I'm very well, thank you.
Sorry, what was your name?
Rokura.
Rokura. What's your last name? Alright, and I'm just been on the phone with John here, and he's explained to me what's happened, and he's gone away and he's contacted Ministry of Health, answered all the health and safety COVID questions, and basically he qualifies to be an exemption of the mask wearing. He does have the proof and the evidence and also the exemption notice on his phone, which you will be able to access once we end this call. But I was just speaking to you so that we don't have to go out in person, because we would just be having the same conversation essentially. We were hoping that he could be exempt to go into the course today. I think all others in his situation are exempt to the same thing, just as long as he has that notice. So are you able to let him in?
I am, yep, as long as we can have a copy of the notice.
No problem. So if you can just assist him get it on his phone once we end the call.
I've been told by the ministry that they have sent it. I haven't checked yet, but I believe it is there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, any further issues, we're happy to come see you in person if you need. But I just thought it would be easier and faster to sort over the phone.
Brilliant.
There's no need to come in.
Great.
Okay, so we're all happy, we're all okay?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you. Okay, so
Great. Bye.
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Now, I want to just add something at the end here, which is to do with the way I was booted out of ILP 20 years ago. I sat down in the seminar room with everyone else, and about 15 minutes into the actual evening session, Jonathan came and quietly whispered in my ear that Jane, the centre manager, wanted to have a word with me. So I popped upstairs, and Jane basically threw me out of ILP and told me to leave the centre and I wasn't welcome to come back. And once again, this was because I'd stood up for somebody who was being bullied by one of them. This sort of bullshit is precisely why people walk away from them and don't want to come back. And ironically, Jane, well, she was known then as Jane Wright. She's married now. I don't know what her surname is, but she's now the manager of the Melbourne Centre, which also has responsibility for New Zealand. And she was actually on the phone with me at one point during this whole fiasco. And so she is still essentially in charge of Auckland. And from the way she behaved while she spoke to me, I have no reason to think that she has changed her ways at all. And the question I would ask for her is just how many people did she backstab the way that she did me? Basically, Jonathan set me up to go upstairs so that she could do the dirty work in the shadows, out of view of everyone else. I mean, Jane, do you even have any sort of comprehension about how vile and revolting that sort of behaviour is? Really? I mean, after I'd left the centre, I realised what a little shit Jonathan is, and you're no better. The two of you basically had this little scheme set up whereby he would whisper in somebody's ear and have them go upstairs to see you, where you'd stab them in the back out of view of the rest of the participants. That has a cost to Landmark. When people like me tell other people about the way that I was treated, that has an impact on their willingness to be around you. And when you've got a city the size of Auckland with people like me and the other graduates who have walked away for that sort of reason, all telling other people what to expect from you people, That's why the Auckland Centre is going down the toilet. And it's fairly clear from the way that the manager, Rakura, I think her name is, and Amanda behaved, that sort of stuff is still going on. It's just absolutely appalling that the person who broke the law is not going to apologise, and if I want to be complete with her, it's my responsibility. I mean, for God's sakes, you guys are just kidding yourselves. This is just appalling, the way that you people look. Now, the second thing I also want to say is that if you are a graduate and you still aren't completely clear about how Landmark's process works and the way that they manipulate people, I'm going to put a link in the description to someone else's video about Landmark, which I commented on in quite some detail about a year ago, where I lay out in extremely detailed terms how Landmark works, the way that they operate, and there's also a reply to somebody which I left there, which you might also want to read, which then takes it even a step further. So if you still don't quite understand exactly what happened and how Landmark got you hooked, and you'd like to understand that, then follow that link. You'll have to look through the comments on that video to find mine, but my face is there, so you'll recognise me and my name immediately, and then you can just read and form your own opinion.